2005 IS300 manual, which is hard to find.
Pop the hood. Pop the hood. About $10,000 worth of parts overnight from Japan.
There you go, bud. How's it for you?
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the vlog. Today we're going to be taking our new IS300, throwing it up on the rack and seeing what's wrong with it, what's right about it, and just kind of taking a good overall look at the car. It didn't drive bad, but it had a ton of lights on and made a bunch of noises, rattles and squeaks and suspension noise. So we're going to see what's going on with the car today. All right, so we've got the car up on the rack. I'm going to pop the hood. Hopefully we can get this thing in better running and driving shape before we start doing some serious mods to it. All right, beautiful 2JZ GE. The air filter is fairly dirty. Fluids look okay. The clutch master seems to be seeping a bit out of the reservoir, but it might have just been overfilled because this thing was pretty full. And the fluid color doesn't look awful. There are some things that have been replaced. This is not a factory PCV hose, so I'm guessing the valve has been replaced as well. This thing does have a lot of codes, so we're gonna pull them and take a look and see what we got. And then we can take the thing up and shake it down.
A little later.
We had a couple of Misfire codes. We had an evap leak code, and then we had an O2 sensor code. So we're gonna be doing a Motul oil change. We got a K&N filter there. The gas cap is new that was on it, but it didn't really look to be the correct one. We got a set of Iridium plugs. We got a new O2 sensor because it did have an O2 sensor code. These have a coil unplug for 3 and then a wire for the other 2. The timing belt is old, we know that. But the problem why it has the misfire is because the cam seals are leaking behind the gears and blowing oil kind of back that way. So if we pull this out, that thing is freaking soaked in oil. We're gonna clean the hell out of that.
Reliable, so we can run errands and stuff in it before we start tearing into it for the project. So.
So we've got our throttle body off and the intake boot off, so we can start working on this spaghetti monster mess of plugs and wires. So what I'm going to go through and do is mark on the coil what cylinder it is, and then I'll mark the wire, cylinder 1, and then we can pull all of this stuff out and start cleaning. Alright, so we got the ignition coil and wires out. As you can tell, they're pretty covered in oil, definitely messy, and this will absolutely cause a misfire because oil kind of acts like an insulator once you get in there. You want a really good, strong mechanical connection between the wire or the coil and the plug, and if you have a bunch of oil in there, it doesn't really do its job very well. Everyone was telling me that the valve cover was leaking because the previous owner said the valve cover was leaking. It doesn't appear to be leaking to me. So if we look on the sides here, it's actually not even really wet, but there's obviously oil residue throughout the entire valley. So you can see it's just a freaking mess down in there. So if you look on top of the timing cover, that is super wet with oil. Down on the back there, it's pretty crusty. So one thing with engine oil is it always kind of leaks down, and usually in an engine like this, it'll kind of go backwards. Oil really doesn't leak forward, but as you can tell, there's a lot of oil buildup in the plug wells, so we need to get all of this crap cleaned out as best as we can. Unfortunately, the wells where the plugs are not the valve cover, so this has 2 independent valve covers instead of 1 singular cover. So pulling the valve covers won't help me clean that because that is the cylinder head, so we just got to get in there with a vacuum and some other good stuff and clean it all out. Freaking nasty, dude.
It was a bargain of a car. We can't expect it to be a gem. Get your vacuum out, vacuum her up, brake parts cleaner, clean her out.
Yep, that'd be mad. All right, so there's pass number 1, and it is already looking much better than it was before. So we're gonna hit it a few more times. I'm gonna hit it with compressed air, see if I can knock any of the other stuff loose, because there's still a lot of crap down there that didn't come off with that, but we'll keep at it. There we go. It only took like 20 minutes. Shop vac, parts cleaner in the can. Boom. Nice and clean. Alright, so I got all the 6 old plugs out. These things were freaking crusty, man. So that buildup, that's not liquid oil, that's just crusted over wrecked oil. That's been there for a long time, and pretty much all the threads were just soaked in oil. There were a few that I pulled out that I literally had oil all over my hands and the tool. Aside from that, if you'll look at the tips of the plugs, so you notice the old plug in the center, actually the tip is round, not pointy, and that's because the electrode is literally being eaten away because these plugs are so old. Time for a Motul oil change.
She was due. It's actually not bad.
As long as it's clean, yeah, as long as there's no bearing coming out.
Those are bubbles.
Those are all air bubbles. All right, so it's been a few days since we did the plugs and got this thing dialed in. It runs great, it drives great, no lights have come back on. It's perfect. The only thing that we need to do still as far as basic maintenance go is the timing belt, and I convinced them to let me do it. That way this thing will be a good, solid, reliable platform to do whatever we want with. I've got the coolant draining right now, and we're gonna start taking stuff off. All right, so we got the radiator and fan out. A lot of cars, you don't even have to pull the fan out independent from the radiator. You could just kind of pull it out as one unit, which is super nice, and the lower hose came with it. That is going to give us so much room to work on this belt. Beautiful. It looks like it hasn't been touched in a long time. A lot of this stuff is super dusty, but ugh, that is not what you want to see when draining coolant out of a car. I don't know how long this thing has had this coolant and timing belt like combo, how long ago it was done, but it should not look like that. If it was done in the last 6 or 7 years, it wouldn't look like that, so it's been a while. So now we can start pulling our belts off, get some tensioner stuff off, and then start going after the upper timing cover. All right, so yesterday I got most of the timing components off, so today we're gonna get the timing belt the rest of the way off. I need to do the cam seals. Usually with this type of cam gear, you have a tool that you can get in and kind of hook the teeth and then break the nut loose, but since we have a VVT system on this motor, we're not gonna be able to do that. So we're gonna have to pull the valve covers off so I can get a big wrench on the cams. This is also gonna be nice because we were kind of suspicious that the valve cover gaskets may or may not be seeping. So we haven't really driven or had the car long enough to know if they're seeping or not. We cleaned all that stuff, but it hasn't shown any signs of leak, but we're just gonna go ahead and replace the valve cover gaskets anyway. Let's get to it. All right, we got our valve covers off. We got our timing belt covers off completely. That is not how a timing belt is supposed to sound. And it sounds like that when you're rotating the engine. All right, let's pull the belt off. All right, so I got the old timing belt off. It's not cracking, but you can see the ribbing through the back. So it's not as in bad shape as I initially thought it was, but it's still not something we want to run. Now to do the cam seals, crank seal, and clean this pig. There it is. There's our oil leak. I knew it was the cam seal. Put that on the parts washer so we can wash that out. And now we can blast the front of this. Yeah, that thing was getting all over. It was going backwards into the valley and into the plugs, and that's probably why we had our misfire, so good times. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and throw our VVTi cam gear on. These, like the cam seals, are another really big culprit of oil leaks on these motors, especially from the top end. Usually when they leak, they'll have a bunch of liquid oil and it'll kind of spread out from the inside. So this one seemed pretty dry when I pulled it off. I didn't really see any signs of it leaking from this compared to the cam gear. Usually this will also leave a bunch of oil on the front of the cover as opposed to a cam seal, which will leave oil on the back of the covers. I really don't have any reason to suspect that this thing is leaking. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this cam gear back on and send it. All right, now for the old spinner twice. Check the timing. All right, 2 dots on the crank pulley, dot there lined up. We are dot mark. So we are timed, tension feels good. Hot dog. Let's put the covers and all the fun stuff back on and go rip it. All right, batteries reconnected. Everything should be good. We have 0 coolant in this engine. I want to start it, make sure that it runs, just so I don't have to come back in and rip it all apart. I don't have any coolant in this car, so we're not gonna run it for very long. Let's see what she do. No check engine light, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so we got the cooling system completely filled up with coolant. We're gonna let it run. I want the cooling fans to kick on, cycle, and kick off. Once they kick off, if they kick back on and then kick off again, we should be completely fine. These Toyota cooling systems are super easy to bleed. Another thing I did is I adjusted the throttle cable. So the throttle cable back here, initially, the cable wasn't straight, it had like a bow to it. And that gave the engine really poor throttle response. So with the slack gone and the cable adjusted properly, we should get a lot better throttle response out of this engine. Our check engine light is off. We just have our brake light on because the handbrake is on, and then the seatbelt light because that thing always flashes unless you have the seatbelt on. This one's freaking thrashed. Mr. Sean.
Oh shoot, what do we need?
Can I get a shift knob for the IS?
For the IS, M12 1.25, huh?
I believe so. What color you want? Nice orange
We got
would
these
be.
new blue, new red. This is like the bad apple red.
That's really nice.
Kind of like, what I always say, like rally blue. For the IS300, we go with the gray one.
I was thinking orange, but orange might be like too in your face.
Gray.
Yeah.
Let's go with the gray. And don't forget, guys, we just restocked all of these along with the new colors, blue and red. Head over to throtl.com and snag yourself one of these shift knobs.
So the nice thing about these is that they have set screws. You can actually set it so our throttle logo is facing us. Sweet.
Booyah.
Oh yeah. All right. So we got all of the stuff done we need to on the Lexus. We're gonna go take it for a test drive, make sure everything's working the way it should. Car feels a lot better. The throttle response is a lot better than it was. The engine seems to be running smoother. We don't have any lights on. The car's improved quite a bit with just some simple basic maintenance. I'm psyched on this car. I'm happy the way it turned out. This thing is going very nicely. Hopefully we get a bunch of fun more stuff to do to this car. So, until next time, see you guys later.
All right, real quick before this video ends, we are going to be doing something that we have never done before with the IS300. All of the details of that is going to be going live in the next video. So it's really exciting. We can't share everything just yet, but just know this car is going to turn into something else. And that's where we're going to leave you guys from today's video. So thank you guys so much for watching and sticking all the way with us to the end. We'll appreciate you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Later.